we talked earlier about your trade in 1975 and how I'm sure you were pleasantly surprised. You played so well your rookie year, you got traded. But
no, it was the second year I was no good. Yeah.
So what about JD? Was it something that just came about quickly as far as going to the finals in '79? Was that unexpected, or did you see the team doing that well?
Well, I think that it was an interesting group, our '79 team. We had some veteran people like Phil Esposito, of course. He's a horse. I mean, when he played, he was a horse. And Mike, you know what it's like when he was taking wrist shots out of the slot with that snapshot he had. He still owns the record for most shots in a season at 550, if you can imagine. 550 from all those years ago. And I don't even think it was an 82-game season back then when he had Bobby Orr and all the guys. But our team had Carol Vadnais, had Phil Esposito, had a bunch of guys, and some skill with Anders Hedberg, Ulf Nilsson before he got hurt, and a lot of young people, the Maloney brothers and Eddie Johnstones, and just a lot of guys. And we had been pretty good that season for the most part. I got injured late in the season. I pulled a shoulder. It was just a muscle thing, but. And then when the playoffs started, I didn't know what was going to happen because I hadn't played much for the previous 2 weeks. And I just, it's hard to come back at that time of year. And then, of course, the Islanders series. And I was proud of our guys, the way we battled. I made a real mess up in game 4 at home where there was a loose puck, and I raced out to get it. I met with Bobby Nystrom kind of head on. Our sticks hit the puck. And I had played junior with Bobby Nystrom, knew him very well. And the puck went way up in the air and came down in our goal crease, and he was there and tapped it in, and we lost. That was a tough one. But then we went in and won on the island, and then we won the series at home with guys that they just battled. They stuck together. And the Islanders had a great hockey club. They won the Cup the next 4 years after that. We played Montreal and won the first game. And the great story there is that Kenny Dryden in goal for Montreal had a tough first game, and they were going to make a goalie change and play Bunny Larocque in game 2 in the Montreal Forum. Well, Doug Risebrough, who now works for us with the Rangers, he caught Bunny Larocque with a slap shot right there in warm-up, and Bunny went bang, he was out. And that was it. Ken goes back in, and the fans were pretty they were in a tumultuous mood in Montreal. We go up 2-0 in game 2, and it was hard for Ken. And then all of a sudden they changed gears and went on a race and ended up beating us in 5 games. Ken was very good. The one game that hurt us was the overtime loss at home. I think it was game 4. It was a 2-on-1, Serge Savard and I think Lafleur. And I saw the 2-on-1 and I'm ready for it. It was Savard moved down. I think he was on his backhand. I expected the pass and I cheated. And the puck, he went short side, scored and beat us. And I've seen Serge Savard. We're both have seen each other a lot over the years with various Hall of Fame committees and things. And if I see Serge 40 times, he rubs it in 40 times. Every single time I see him, he rubs it in, and it drives me crazy. And you know, Mike went on, he's a champion. I never won a cup. We lost to a great, they had a great team. I bet you there's 10, 12 guys at least in the Hall of Fame from that club. But I still feel that in some ways we could have, if we could have got it to 6 and then to 7, you never know. I think about that a lot. I think about, I wanted to be a champion as a player, never did. And I think about how close I got to the finals with our club, and our team was a really tight team. We still see each other a lot. Still see Nick Fattiu and Dave Maloney and Don Maloney and Eddie Johnstone and on and on and on and on. We didn't win though, and that's something that just you live with.
I'm wondering from Mike, if you remember your time with JD. He's now a broadcaster. You know about his career. I know you looked up to him, right, Mike? So what was it like getting some tips from JD when you were playing for the Rangers?
I had no choice looking up to him. The guy's 2 feet taller than me. You know what? I was shocked as JD. I didn't grow up in a big town either, but not quite as small as maybe you guys did, but how warm New York is. And I just kind of, my impression was you have the guys in the locker that you're going to meet and ultimately like. I mean, players are likable, but that whole big organization, you know, is so scary when you first come here. And JD and Sam were 2 guys that were just like family. It was unbelievable. They support you. They are professional, and they're warm, and they're just, that's the type of thing. You know, players come and go, but the organization remains. And I do remember that. And in a way, we knew him as this phenomenal broadcaster, because at the time he was. And, you know, Sam used to say the best in the business, and he was. Those two, that combination was just so enjoyable to listen to and be around and talk. And but that professionalism that you try to have as a player, JD was able to do that in his next career move. And God, I remember the book you used to have, JD, right? You had this great story that you left in a cab once, but, you know, that was prior to everything going digital. And this is a guy that would be able to sit down and wring the most important story out of you and totally keep your confidence. And it's a real skill, because, you know, the newspaper might be saying, well, you know, something's wrong in the Ranger locker room and it looks like they need a coaching change. And JD would sit down and say, you know, hey, what's going on? Billy might say, it's not the coach. This is what's happening. And, you know, please don't let this out. But you have to understand the perspective, and you always have this is not just for the Rangers. This is across the league. He's one of those guys that understands people and understands the game. And so, you know, you were entering into this proud organization, but you have people like that around it. I mean, it was something you kind of, you took a step back and go, this is a pretty special place. So I do remember that. And it was kind of, I don't know how to say this, but I knew him so well as the announcer that he was, because he was very established when I came. And then you start almost doing more research to the goalie that he was. And it's just interesting to listen to it now. I mean, 5th overall in 1972. How many goalies were taken in the first round prior to that? Ever? I don't think many, but, you know, so, you know, I think people know him now as the GM and his career since announcing, if you're a young kid. But holy crap, you've had a couple iterations of some real successful careers here, bud. Amazing.
Thank God for hockey. You know, Valley, and you're in the business, and you talk about the game and you talk about players. The one thing that people have to remember all the time is everybody's human. Everybody, when they, you know, one thing Sam Rosen is really good at it is you get to know the players and their families.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you broadcast Ranger games, you give the Rangers' point of view, good and bad. When you do national games, you're working with both teams. But there's people. You get to know people. When you get to know Mark Messier, and Mark Messier, you can walk around, people and go, wow. When you get to know him, he's got a mother and a father and siblings and children. It's the same with Wayne Gretzky and others that, and many players come through. And I think it was our jobs as broadcasters to try to get for the viewers to understand the people, not just the player, the people. And then there was the influx of European players. And the hardest thing I ever had in hockey as a broadcaster was trying to pronounce Russian players' hockey names of 4 and 5 syllables. My God, that was hard for me. I was Smith and Jones type of guy. I had but you learn, you work with it, and you get to know them. You know what? People came from the other side, from Russia. They're human beings. They're good people, and you get to know them all. It's a fascinating game for myself going on 50 years, but it's about the people. That's the great thing about it. And getting to know the fans over the years. You run into Ranger fans who have been season ticket holders for 30, 40 years, 50 years. Yeah. They're people. They just love the game. It's been quite a ride.
John Davidson, Mike Richter, I can't thank you enough for all of your time. That was extraordinary and just wonderful sharing those stories with all of us.
Thanks, Valley. Good seeing you. Ricky, all the best, man. Good seeing you.
Thanks so much, guys. Could do this all day. Let's do it again. I'm bored.